The next thing I'm going to do here, I'm not going to remove all of these parts related to codes that we've written in order to understand the strings better. So I'm going to declare another string. I'm going to name it sample string equals hello world, and here we go. Okay, imagine that you want to see what is the first letter of this hello world. So imagine that you don't know what this string is and you have got it from somewhere. You want to only work with the letters. So the thing you need to do is to print sample, and here we use these attributes related to arrays. So here, okay, we have sample string, okay, and we want to get the very first letter from it, and this is one of the attributes of arrays, which we're going to cover later in this tutorial. But for here, notice that here we use if you want to, we have a kind of an array containing so many different parts. When we want to see one of the parts or query one of the parts, one of the members of this group, we use these brackets here, and then inside of the bracket we use the number related to the sequence of that array. For example, if we want to get the very first one of them, we use 0. If we want to get the second one of them, we use 1. So because it starts with 0, we start with 0. And so let's see what happens. We should get h from this hello world, so we use 0. Let's see what happens. And by the way, if you don't want to have the results printed here, you can easily comment these parts. And okay, if you see these red lines here, it shows that okay, very long strings is declared, but it's not used anywhere. But it's not very important. This is not an error, this is just a warning. Okay, and let's run the code. Okay, we've got a problem here. Let's see what it is. There has to be something with okay, the if statement. So the red line here shows an error, not a warning. Okay, so I've commented the if statement as well, because we have nothing, no command, no code inside the if statement, and it says that the very long string should also be placed inside the if statement, but because it does not have the right indentation, it becomes an error. Another very big problem. So here we run the code, and as you can see, H is the very first letter of hello world. So if you want to get to know different letters from a string, and we want to know in a sequence which one is the second or third or fourth or any letter, any number of letter it is, and see what that letter is, you use this kind of a statement. So for example, I want to know what's the W, I use 5. Let's see whether it sees the space or the W. This is one of the challenging questions. So we can easily try it by writing 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and because it starts from 0, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here is 5. The space here is 5, but let's see whether it sees the space or the blank, or it sees W as the 5th letter. Okay, let's save this and see what happens. Okay, here it sees the space and it doesn't show us the W. So if you want to see the W, we need to use next line 6, and it should show us the W. And here, as you can see, H blank and W. And okay, so these spaces and these blanks are also considered as the letters inside the strings, and this makes things much easier because there you will understand where you have spaces, and we will not only consider the letters. So another important thing about the strings is when we want to, one of the most important operations on the string is when we want to know the length of the string and see how many letters and exclamation mark or anything else is inside this string. It could be number, this exclamation mark, question mark, dot, or any letter or blank space. All of these are considered as one of the parts of the strings. We want to know the length of this string, and to do that we use the len function. So let's print the length, use len here for the sample string. So it says it's 12. So let's check whether it has 12 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The 12th one is this exclamation mark. Okay, that's it. Using len, we can understand the length of the string. And there are moments when we want to know the different characters of a string. And in order to do that, we write for sample, for actually X, or I don't know, I, in sample string. This is the for statement. We're going to cover it later, but here we can use this in order to see the different like, let me actually write here string. You can use this for understanding what happens and how we can see the different characters of a string. So here, let me write it. String print I. So notice that in a for statement here you can use any kind of variable name. So here you define the variable name inside the for statement. You can write any kind of letter, character, name for this. And so, for example, I can write for m in sample string. And sample string here is the variable that has declared the string. Instead of it, you can write hello world or any kind of a string that you want to see the characters of it. And then we will write print I. So it will print each one of the characters inside the sample string, which is hello world. Okay, let's see the result. And here, as you can see, it has shown us the HELLO space WORLD and in the end exclamation mark. So it has printed out the different characters of the string inside the console for us, and just it's as cool as it is. This is a for loop statement. If you want to know the length of this string, you can also use this for loop without using len function, but you know, it's pretty much easier to use len here. But if you want to alternatively use this for loop instead of len, you can use this I here and print it out every time it's reading from this sample string. So you can, for example, define another variable and increment it inside this for loop. Okay, we're going to see how for loop works in the next tutorials. I'm not going to enter into the details of for loop.